we go. I recently met Heather McGiddy and was inspired by her story of introducing the social soccer program, Soccer Mums at her son's football club. We thought sharing Heather's story would help other sports clubs to understand a little more about social programs and how they can benefit their clubs, whether it is soccer, cricket, or another sport. So, hi, Heather. Lovely to see you again.
Hi.
Please, can you tell me a little bit about what social soccer is, who it is for, and what role you played?
Sure. Thanks for having me. Social soccer is for people who want to get more active, people who want to play the game in a way that's not competitive, it's non-judgmental, and it's for any ability. It's really social, it's really fun, and it's about being active and meeting new people and enjoying your own body being active.
Sounds awesome to me. So why did you decide to do the Soccer Mums program at your club?
Sure. So I've loved the game, but haven't always been able to play it. And as a mum, I looked around and there weren't any programs available for people like me who wanted to play for fun, didn't have the time, energy, perceived skill level to play in a competitive sport. And I heard about the Soccer Mums program funded by Vic Health, run by Football Victoria in Melbourne City, and thought, if not me, why not? Who could do this? So I thought I'd have a go and get it up and running at my son's club in Brunswick City. And the club was pretty receptive to the idea and supported me to get it up and running there.
Awesome. Fantastic. So why didn't your club just focus on a senior women's team? Why did they say, okay, that sounds like a good idea?
Well, they actually have a senior women's team, but what they didn't have is a program that would help their community unite a bit more and connect with each other a bit more. I'm sure many clubs, whichever sport, can relate to this. When their kids have training sessions, some parents get together and chat. Some are in the club rooms, some are in their cars, a lot are on their phones. But by having a program that runs at the same time as their kids' training, the parents can actually come together in a new way, being physical, getting active and getting to know each other in a way that they wouldn't have done before. And that really, really builds cohesion within the club. I think also the club, they had a senior women's team, but this way of doing sport is for people who don't feel ready for that yet. And maybe they won't feel ready for that ever, but it gives them a way to play the game in a way that suits them. And perhaps it's like an introduction to playing the sport in a way that's really fun, not threatening, and really inviting for them. And I think it's a really good pathway to developing a senior team.
Superb, because you might get mums who come along, probably didn't think that they could play soccer, had a bit of fun, really enjoyed it, got a bit of a love for soccer, developed those skills, and actually they might be good enough to play in that senior soccer team, but they never thought that they would do.
Yeah, absolutely. We actually had two of the mums from my program gain so much confidence in their ability with the ball and playing, and their spatial awareness, their movement off the ball, all of that stuff, that they actually joined a futsal team together. And if they hadn't done this program, they wouldn't have felt that confidence and they wouldn't have joined that program. So, yeah, it happens. It's real.
Awesome. So we didn't make it up. It actually happens in real life. Love
That's
it.
Right.
So what have been the benefits to your club, do you feel?
So I think one of the benefits that I spoke about or alluded to before is that of community connection. It's another way of the community members getting to know each other, forming bonds, and it's provided a little bit of extra income for the club through the way that the program was set up. The club got the participant fees at the end of the program. It's provided a means for them to demonstrate to their local councils that they are supporting the female game. And for the councils in our area, that was really important. They wanted to know that clubs were investing and putting the effort and commitment into women's sport. It's meant that actually I heard of one club down on the peninsula where they introduced this program and they were really intentional. They said, we want to get more team managers. So they recruited women to join Soccer Mums, and then they taught them about team management at the same time. And so all of their Soccer Mums participants ended up being an assistant team manager or a team manager. So that's another benefit to the club. It can improve your chances of having players. It can improve your chances of having volunteers, administrators, referees. I don't know about other clubs, but we often need parents to put their hands up and say, yeah, I'll ref that match. But unless you've got exposure to the game and learnt the rules, you don't feel confident to do that. So it's another benefit to the club.
Fantastic, because that's something that I hear all the time, is that clubs are really struggling with volunteers and parent engagement, and there's that whole feeling that parents drop their kids off but they don't really engage much with the club. So to have actually engaged mums in doing something, maybe built their confidence and built their skills, and maybe encourage people to consider that they want to give something back to their kids club, is a fantastic idea.
Yeah,
superb. So we've had a bit of a problem with coronavirus obviously recently, and I was just wondering, have you been able to get Soccer Mums up and running since the return to play?
good question. The club has been really, really supportive of Soccer Mums, and they've shown that by making sure that we've always had pitch allocation, and really appropriate pitch allocation with good lighting, close to the change rooms, and toilets, accessibility. And they've also made sure that as the deliverer of the program, I've been included in communications about decisions that have been made. So I've always known when we're approaching return to play. I've had information about what the guidelines and processes and procedures are. And Brunswick City was one of 3 clubs that returned to Soccer Mums post-COVID-19. Well, can't say post, but when return to play and return to train began, we were actually ready to start before Football Victoria was, because they see it as a part of their core offering. So we have been able to return. We've had 3 sessions. Unfortunately, our program is in one of those priority postcodes, so that's on hold at the moment, but the club is seeking to find new grounds and are including us in that. So
fantastic. I'm so glad to hear that, because I know that a lot of clubs sort of struggled getting everybody back on the pitch. So the fact that you have been part of that offering is just so important. So I also know that you worked with Melbourne City Football Club to help other clubs to run Soccer Mums. What do you think are the key elements which have actually made it successful in those clubs?
Yes, my roles with Melbourne City, they have a not-for-profit City in the Community, which provides sport for social good programs. And I worked with a lot of different clubs, including Hobbers Crossing. I spoke with Jessie there. She's a wonderful president. And I got to meet a whole range and variety of committee members. So what makes it successful is that the club at decision-making level sees this as a priority. They really want to engage women and have them as an active part of their portfolio of programs that they offer. They need to have a champion, and that champion can be the person who runs the program, but they need to be part of that decision-making group so that they're included in information about social media, marketing, pitch allocation, registrations, all of that kind of thing. They need to be included in that or have access to that decision-making group. They need to make sure that they promote the program. So it's all well and good having someone say, yes, I want to run this program, but if they don't have access to the social media or access to communicating with the members, the message isn't going to get out there. They need to have access to the grounds. They need to be able to communicate with the members. And you need to have it on your website. You need to be visibly talking about it. So it needs to be an investment from the club and from their decision-making group. That's the biggest thing, I think.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. It's like if there's that investment, then it flows through, and it's another core offering that the club has. Fantastic. Awesome. Let's hope we can motivate some more clubs to take it on. So what are your experiences around gender equality at your club?
When I first got to know the club, it was when my son was just born, and I'd walk him around with a pram watching the games. And I'd walk into the club to get a souvlaki because they're great. And I wouldn't see any pictures of women or girls. I'd see images of the men or lots of trophies, and it didn't feel like a really welcoming space for a woman or a girl. And when I would look on their social media, I wouldn't see anything. Wouldn't see images of women or girls. But I have to say that's changing, and we're not there yet, at the pinnacle of what we'd like to see, but they're changing. Their social media is now really, really inclusive of showing their women and girls. They even promoted the Women's World Cup bid. Each day they did a countdown with an image of one of their senior women's players and talking about how much it matters to the club. And when I was running the Soccer Mums program, I made sure that I talked to different people at the club, like Bill, the guy who runs the canteen, and said, hey, I've got these women joining. Some of them have never played before. They really might not be comfortable. They might be nervous. Can you make sure they feel welcome if they come in and say, where's the program? And Bill, I love him. He now greets all the women with a smile and directs them, go over there, that's where it is. And on social media, he is sharing it. I never imagined that would happen. He's sharing the program. And even when my group of mums, I love them, they're amazing, they decided to enter a social competition, a mini World Cup, and we played as South Africa, and the club provided uniforms for us to wear without charge. They were able to do that for us, and really supportive and really proud of us too. They love what we're doing. And I'd have, at the end of training, I've had other coaches come up to me and say, I love what you're doing. Do you want to have a friendly game with the under 14 girls? And that was a bit intimidating for my mums, but I love the support and acceptance and celebration of what we were doing. It made it feel like we belonged. So, yeah. Oh, and they put the flyers up in the change rooms and in the canteen and everywhere. So, yeah, it was accepted, supported, and, yeah, we felt like we belonged.
Fantastic. So it really feels that what you have done has been embraced by the club, and it's kind of like it's been this journey all the way through. It's kind of like and you've seen those stages of change, and perhaps the Soccer Mums has almost sort of sped up that journey, and that just goes to show how something like this, that we might feel it isn't part of the core offer for a club, can actually really start to change the culture and make it more welcoming and inclusive. And it doesn't just mean just for women, it means for everybody. So that's a really sort of fantastic thing to kind of like consider, how something else can kind of help to change and just make everywhere a better place. So like that increase of visibility, as you said, is so important.
I think we often think about sport and community clubs as being one certain way of doing things. You get members, they sign up, they pay a registration fee, the season goes for this long. But what if we could do it differently? What if we could invite people who don't feel like they fit there, or don't feel like that commitment of time, energy, or money is right for them? What if we made it so that they could come along, play for a period of time, maybe a term, once a week, not twice or 3 times a week, because they might not have that amount of time? And what if we made sure that when we were educating them and supporting them, that we gave them information about how to play the game, how to connect with people, how to talk, how to move, and just there's so many different ways to do this. And I think if we do that, people will build confidence, people will grow in their love of the game and of your club. They will see your club as the place that welcomes everyone, and they'll tell their friends about it. And then I think people will be confident to take the next step and join a team and play competitive sport.
I love that.
Sorry.
Sorry.
I was going to say, it's kind of like, for some people, playing competitive sport might be like learning to ride a bike without training wheels first. It's just one step too far.
Yeah. No, I get that. And that's kind of, I guess, what I was thinking is kind of like a lot of people feel that sport is for sporty people. And yet, why? Sport should be for everybody. So by opening the doors, and maybe some people need a helping hand, And that helping hand looks different in many different ways. But if we can offer a selection of helping hands that pull people in, and then we start to look outside and somebody says, oh, well, actually, I do soccer mums. And you look at them and go, well, you don't look very sporty. They're like, oh, well, then someone like me. Oh, well, maybe I could do it. And I think that's the really key thing, is that someone like me rather than Sporty Spice down the road.
Yeah. Yeah,
Harken
absolutely.
back to my old days. So yeah, fantastic. Do you have any top tips or a key message to other clubs who may not have considered offering a social program? I often speak to clubs and I say, how about a 6-week beginner course? How about a social program? And I know that they're teetering on the edge of thinking about it, but there's a little bit of a fear. So what might be your top tips or key message to maybe make them take that leap, which isn't really that big a leap, but feels like a mental leap?
I think sometimes we hold ourselves back from doing things because we feel like they've got to be perfect. And that's one of the things I've absolutely loved about my journey with Soccer Mums. I had no coaching experience or qualifications. I just really love the game and I'm passionate about other women enjoying how their bodies feel. So you don't have to have perfection. You can start with enthusiasm. But what works really well is asking your community, saying, we're really interested in doing this. We want to find out, what would you like? We're wondering if maybe running a social program would work for you. Who's interested? Who's with me? And I found that throughout this whole process, by asking my women what they'd like, then I'm able to tailor that and adapt that. And also saying to them, do you know what? This is the first time I'm doing this. I might not get it right. I'm going to make mistakes along the way. I'd love your support with that. And they have given me so much support. I've grown incredibly. And I think if clubs want to do something differently, talk to your community, talk to your members and find out who shares that passion, that curiosity, because you might find people are within your community passionate about that. I mean, if I hadn't stepped up to do this, the club might not have known that I was there because they never asked. To ask, say, hey, we're curious, we're really interested, put the invitation out there, and people will feel welcomed and supported to put their hand up. I think be okay to make mistakes, celebrate your wins, and have a go. You know what? You'll never regret the things that you try hard at, but if you never have a go, you're missing out on so much potential. So, and if anyone wants to chat, I'd be really happy to talk with them about it. Yeah, they're my tips.
Fantastic. No, I think that's absolutely brilliant. And as you said, if you don't ask, you don't know. And we can often assume, and if maybe it's not the group that we would normally work with, it's kind of like hard to understand and know what they might be thinking. So it can be, if something doesn't appeal to you personally, you might think, well, it might not appeal to anybody. So that just asking. And I've sometimes, with previous programs, I've put a question up in a local Facebook group. You know, I'm considering running this. What do you think? And it's amazing when sometimes you actually get that positive feedback of, yeah, actually, we're really interested. And it makes you go, okay, well, let's give it a go then. And I guess trying something doesn't mean to say that you're trying it forever. You can try something and just do a couple of sessions. It's not a big full-on commitment. It's just try, learn, reevaluate, and keep on moving forwards. And sounds like you do that all the time, and it's just fantastic, Heather. And it's been so good talking to you today. Thank you so much.
I'd love it too. Thanks, Camilla.